I Love Mortgage Brokering, episode 80.
Where the best mortgage brokers get better. I Love Mortgage Brokering with your host, Scott Peckford.
Hi, Broker Nation. I am to introduce our guest today, Sean O'Connor. He's the Director of Business Development for GroupLend. It's an online lender that caters to prime borrowers. They use some really sick technology to provide low-cost borrowing solutions, and you can get your money within 24 hours. I didn't believe it until I tried it, and it absolutely works, and it's awesome, and that's why I decided to have them on the show. Sean, are you ready to rock?
You bet. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So first, just tell us about how you got into the lending space. And I guess it's called microloans because you guys don't do mortgages. But so how did you get into this space?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. I personally got into it just from bugging our CEO every month until he finally hired me. But his story is much more interesting in the sense that GroupLend started in earnest. We launched in October 2014, but really it was about a year and a half leading up to that where one, Kevin was navigating through the regulatory environment. He understood that this was a huge opportunity. It's one thing to look at the U.S. and see things like LendingClub and Prosper and their success, but it's another thing to look at Canada is a very different market, but he understood that there's still a huge need for offering a more convenient and more affordable borrowing process in the unsecured space. Frankly, at the time, and still to this day, Canadians are getting further and more frustrated with the just expensive rates and slow service, limited hours that the banks have. And through using modern technology and a data-driven solution, there was an opportunity to offer Canadians a better experience. So spent the next year and a half with our CTO and a couple of engineers hunkered down as they built out all the code. We are very proud that we built all of our technology, and we're excited to see the response when we launched in October, and it's been much more robust than we'd ever expected.
So you basically launched just 1 year ago.
Yeah. We started marketing in earnest in January, but we put the site up in October just to see what would come, and it's been a lot of fun. A lot of long hours, but a lot of fun.
And so if somebody doesn't know what you guys do, so maybe explain to me if I said, okay, what is GroupLend and how do they fit in the... Primarily, my listeners are mortgage brokers, and so they've heard of secured credit cards. They've heard, they know about, what do you guys do? What is your sort of specialty?
Yeah, so we're an unsecured online loan provider. So essentially, we're focused towards prime quality Canadians, and our value proposition, it's nice that we are fast and convenient. We offer this great user experience, but at the end of the day, if we're not cheaper than the banks, we're not going to be winning much business. So fundamentally, through offering our platform completely online and being able to save on all the overhead costs and legacy costs, we can offer unsecured loans at a much cheaper rate than the banks for prime quality Canadians.
Right. Because your guys' technology is awesome, which we'll talk about in a second, you're able to do things quicker than, your typical how long. It takes you sometimes a week to get a meeting at the bank to find out if you can get money, and then another week to maybe even get the money. So now, so how does your platform work? So if I'm a borrower, let's just walk me through. I show up to your site. How does it work?
So the borrower shows up to the website. They decide that they want to apply for a loan. It's a very low commitment process. The application to get your quote does not affect your credit score. It takes only a minute. So the borrower comes through, they put in a little information, they get this instant personalized quote without impacting their credit score. And that truly is their personalized quote. It won't change throughout the process. If they choose to move forward with it, they have to upload a few documents, takes about 5 minutes time, and then 40% of our borrowers right now are actually getting funded on the same day that they're coming to our website and applying. The remaining set of our borrowers get it the next business day right in the morning. So definitely we pride ourselves on the speed of which we can execute, the convenience for our borrowers, but then again, going back to what I was saying, if we're not cheaper, all of that's worthless. And
so how do you underwrite files so quickly? Because do you have people chained to their desks how does this work? Because I know that in my business, obviously the mortgages are slightly different, but the underwriting process to approve someone can take some time. So how is it that you guys are able to do it so quickly?
It's through creating a completely digital experience, both for the user and more importantly for our systems on the back end. So by taking the entire process and having it go through a set of our algorithms that really consume about 1,000 data points in every borrower who comes in, we're able to instantly underwrite our borrowers. And don't get me wrong, there still is some human interaction. We'll still do a verification call for a large majority of our borrowers, really just because we like to reach out to them and for our own marketing purposes, it's important. And it's always a good way to kind of help build our branding. But the underwriting process is very automated, and that's the biggest reason why we're able to turn things around so quickly.
Right. And it also means a lower cost for the end user because you don't have the same friction in terms of
exactly. And
costs.
it's a key value to our company as well, in the sense that if we can't automate the process, we really can't offer these exceptionally low rates, because then you start adding a lot of overhead costs tied to it. So it's the big reason why Kevin spent so long with our engineers building out the technology was to be able to offer our platform at such low rates because of our low operating costs.
Right. And then, so what, I'm a mortgage broker, so what kind of things are mortgage brokers using GroupLend for?
Good question. Yeah, we're seeing kind of three different types of conversions that come out of our mortgage brokerage network. And our largest source of referrals right now comes from the mortgage brokerage industry. They make up a significant portion of our entire business. And it's really based around three things. One, mortgage brokers they're social people and they know credit better than anyone else. So we're seeing a lot of just come through kind of general network connections and discussions. So we see a lot just through Twitter and Facebook. One of our partners will say, hey, listen, I'm working with GroupLend now, and they're helping my clients out with unsecured debt if you're interested. So that's kind of one channel that we're seeing from our brokerage network, just because they're the people that their network goes to talk to about credit. Mm-hmm. The second one, which probably makes the largest portion, is right around closing costs on the sale of a property. So whether it means they need extra money for moving expenses or furniture or whatever it is that their client wants, it's a way that they can get a little bit extra access to credit. And then the third point is we're seeing a lot of conversions kind of 6 to 9 months after the purchase of a property. Mm-hmm. Really two reasons we're seeing there. One is a lot of first-time home buyers, myself included, the first time I bought a house, underestimate the cost of owning a house and the cost of living that goes up with owning a house. So we're seeing a lot of debt consolidation loans in that kind of 6 to 9 month period after purchasing a property. 6 to 9 months is typically the time when we're starting to see you move into an old fixer-upper, you think you can stomach the shag carpet and wood paneling for a couple of years, and 6 to 9 months later you think, oh, okay, now we need to do something about this. So a lot of home improvement loans around that time as well.
Right. And so what kind of rate range are you guys? Like, what's the rates? Yeah.
So our rates range from 5.9% to 17.25%. Average is just around 10.5%. A large portion of our referrals coming through the mortgage brokerage network are below 7.5%. We have a huge portion of that rate at 5.9%. We're starting to see there's a slightly, well, actually considerably lower interest rate through our mortgage brokerage network, just because of the type of people that they generally are talking to, as opposed to the people who just come through, say, Google or Facebook or things like that. Mm-hmm.
What kind of term? So it's a loan, or is it? It's not a credit facility like a line of credit, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's a 3-year unsecured loan, but there's no origination fee and no prepayment penalty. So it's a very low obligation. If they want to pay it back faster, they can certainly do that. If they want to pay it biweekly, they can do that. We're definitely flexible on how they want to pay the loans back.
Okay. I'm going to just share my experience with you guys. So we had connected quite a while ago, and I'm like, oh, this looks like a cool idea. And then I had a client who needed some extra money, and I'm like, my assistant Nicole's like, hey, so this is, we got this situation. And I said, oh, let's try GroupLend out. And so then we sent them over to you guys, and literally like within a day, they did their application. They're a great client, they had good credit and stuff. They had their money within 24 hours, and they were like, well, that was super simple. And so do you guys report to, so I'm just saying, hey, I'm a fan of what you guys are doing, but
I appreciate it.
Do you guys report on the credit bureau? So how does that work in terms of like, so somebody gets a loan with you, will it help them build credit as well?
You bet. Yeah, especially if they're, there's two different ways. Again, we're seeing a lot through the mortgage brokerage network. One is to get access to capacity for home improvement projects and things like that. The other is for debt consolidation loans. And if you can use us for a debt consolidation loan and really bring down that utilization rate on your revolving trades, especially on your credit cards, we see a high correlation with our borrowers' credit scores improving quite significantly after using a loan with us.
Right. If somebody has your loan, what does it say? Do you know what it says on like an Equifax report or a TransUnion report in terms of like how it reports?
Yeah, I believe it shows up as an installment loan. Again, I'd have to get our chief credit officer, Daryl Knopp, to speak better to that, but yeah, in terms of reporting times, I'm not entirely sure. I know that it's much faster now that our volume has increased, and the bureaus definitely see that we're a growing presence in Canada.
Mm-hmm. And where are you based out of?
Based out of Vancouver, we're live all across Canada with the exception of Saskatchewan, Quebec, and Nova Scotia. Saskatchewan and Nova Scotia should be up and running. We keep saying any day now. It's been a little slower of a process, but definitely before the end of this year, probably likely in early Q4. Mm-hmm. And Quebec will be a little bit longer time as we wrap our heads around the dual language requirements and things like that.
Right. Well, and then so we had chatted. I said, hey, I've got all these mortgage brokers that tune into the show. Is there any kind of special thing that you can do for them? So what can we do for the broker listeners who decide to try you guys out that have listened to this program?
Yeah, good question. I was thinking that for any broker that comes through, if they just make sure that they mention that they heard about us through this podcast, we'd be happy to offer them an extra $100 on top of their first referral as a commission, and more importantly, just make sure that we can get them up and running as quickly as possible.
Right, and so just so people are aware too, so you do have a referral or affiliate program for mortgage brokers, and so anybody wants to reach out, because you provide your own unique link, right? So somebody who's doing multiple business with you would get a unique link that has, so where they come from. And so how would they get one of those unique links?
Yeah, if they send me an email, they can. I'd be happy to talk to them about a little bit more about our program, about our fee structure, and get them set up with a link. Provide them with marketing materials, whether it's they want canned messages for social media posts or banner ads or anything like that. Where we've got a whole whack of materials, and if they ever want anything made, we've got some of the best designers in the business, and I'm sure our main designer Demo would be happy to whip something up.
Right. Okay. So how do people find you online if they want to connect?
To find me personally, they can just send me an email, sean@grouplend.ca. Feel free to check out the website beforehand at www.grouplend.ca, and you can see some of the exciting things that we're working on.
Cool. And are you guys have any plans of kind of heading to any mortgage conferences or anything?
We'd love to. If anyone knows which ones we should be at, we'd definitely like to be out there. Like I said, the Mortgage Broker Network is a pillar of our business in which we depend on. So yeah, I'd be thrilled to connect with anyone. If they have any suggestions, I'll be there.
Okay, and actually, when we get off the air, I have some ideas on that, so we can chat about it. But you know what? It's not been a long interview, but I think it's been very valuable. I know that whenever I hear about something new, and I'm like, okay, is this going to work? And it worked. So I tell anybody listening, check it out, try it out, and then shoot me feedback. If obviously, I'd love to hear your feedback on using them. If anybody listening has used them, Sean. So thanks so much for your time today, man. And I hope Group Lend continues to crush it.
Really appreciate you having me, and thanks again for your ongoing support.
No problem. And anybody listening, check out the show notes, and we'll have links to Group Lend as well as being able to connect with Sean so that you can chat with him.